Cornhole Champions, I'm Zachary Oren Smith. I'm sitting here with Amy Rivers and Avery Staker of Iowa Starting Line. For our third story, last week, Governor Kim Reynolds delivered a veto that has her own party members seeing red. Reynolds vetoed a bill that would have restricted the use of eminent domain for carbon capture pipeline projects, and now Republican lawmakers are openly threatening to torpedo her remaining agenda. Amy, did you want to talk a little bit about the kind of infighting that we've seen so far?
I would love to. So this Iowa Capitol dispatch story has everything. Like, it's Steve Holt, arguably should be on the governor's side on most issues, is going around saying the governor's lack of leadership is why we are where we are today, and it will affect her agenda going forward until the end of her term. Bobby Kaufman has also said, now he's Jeff Kaufman's son, chair of the Iowa GOP party. He said during a Radio Iowa interview that he would, quote, work to kill every single piece of legislation that has Reynolds' name on it.
Bold.
So next year should be fun.
I wonder how much of this is like, because I know that there were every legislative session, but there were definitely some kind of games played this legislative session about, like, you know, Governor Reynolds kind of strong-arming her representatives and senators into doing what she wanted them to do, talking about, like, we got elections coming up, you know, if you want to get reelected, do this for me. So I wonder how much of this kind of animosity, like if any of that was directed at any of these people that are kind of mad at, you know, this is, again, also a policy issue, but I wonder if there's any kind of, you know, anything personal about this. Because it feels a little intense to be just about, you know, property rights and eminent domain abuse. It feels a little
personal. And I think it comes down to so this has been a issue that has seen a ton of public outcry. If you've gone to the Iowa Legislature in any of the past couple of sessions, the anti-carbon pipeline folks had shown up en masse, right?
Yeah.
This is a group of folks that deeply oppose the idea that the government could seize land and gift it to one of these private companies for their pipelines. I say gift. I mean, obviously there'd be market rate pay, but you know what I'm saying. Bobby Kaufman called it in that same Radio Iowa interview, called out what is one of the largest investors in these projects, Bruce Radstatter, kind of a name you'll hear appear in Iowa politics quite a bit.
Radstatter.
So what did I say?
Radstatter.
Well, he's a pretty rad dude, if you ask me.
You
know me, I'm a big pipeline guy. Anyway, so Bobby Kaufman says, and I quote, "She has failed the state, and her legacy now is spitting in the faces of landowners and," you ready? "Being Bruce Radstatter." I do say Radstatter.
Mm-hmm.
"Being Bruce Radstatter's errand girl." What a wild thing to say about the leader of your party. I screamed when I read that.
Yeah, that's shady.
Like, it's not, yeah, it's pretty personal over this. And to bring Reynolds into this, Reynolds has argued that the bill had vague legal standards and would threaten Iowa's business reputation, while Republican supporters claimed she was abandoning constitutional property rights in favor of the special interests. And the Iowa Renewable Fuels Association has been making the case that there are business deals already in place. There's investment already at work in the state that would be damaged, processes that would be impacted by this what they called omnibus regulation of carbon capture pipelines.
I think the other piece of it, and Avery, you touched on this a little bit, was I think they feel like they can say this to Reynolds. They feel like they can try to look like they have the backs of, you know, the anti-pipeline folks, because they're not up for election this November, because Reynolds is not running anymore. She's probably not going to try to mount primaries against them, you know, in 2026. So I think that's probably why they feel like they can say these things.
It feels like it's all kind of been like bubbling up for a while.
No,
almost.
that could be too.
Like it's like I know that there's a lot of her approval rating's abysmal. You know, she's leaving with a really terrible approval rating, and I feel like since, you know, the nexus of it it feels like it was, when she endorsed DeSantis. And like,
Yeah.
this is kind of the fallout of all of that. Now that, we know she's not going to have the influence the next time around. They're like, oh, well, fuck her. Like, let's say what we want to say now because we can. You don't have to worry about her.
She's weak and we prey on the weak. Yeah, that's kind of how they roll.
Yeah. While House Speaker Pat Grassley has called to override this veto, Senate Majority Leader Jack Whitver indicated that it would be unlikely in his chamber to pass, as 21 Republicans had originally voted against the bill.
So they are going to come back this summer?
Hard to say. Last thing I heard was that House Speaker Pat Grassley was gathering signatures. But you need 2/3 of both chambers in order to pass, in order to overturn a governor veto, which they do not have the numbers for in the Senate. So we'll see if they decide to, if they go to Des Moines just to get turned down in the Senate. That's not a great use of folks' time. So
no,
we'll see what happens.
I will say, Steve Holt, this Cap Dispatch article quotes Steve Holt as defining the divide as country club versus grassroots Republicans. That's hilarious. The image of just the uppity hoity-toity, like looking down at your nose, like your typical country. Because I've been around both of these demographics. I worked at a country club in my little rural area in high school. Like I've seen that categorization of Republicans and just the image of the, upturned nose, like polo wearing, golf playing Republican versus your like boots on the ground farmer, like
right.
They're going to the local dive bar and they're hanging out there. Like that difference is just like so stark in my brain, and the fact that they like are a part of the same party is really. It's also funny because knowing Steve Holt, he's a big Trump guy.
He's a big Trump guy and, comes from kind of a great working class background. You'll, of course, know my favorite photo in Iowa history. Here is an image of Steve Holt serving Barack Hussein Obama, president-to-be, a snow cone at Tropical Snow, his snow cone business. Note the visage of pleasure as he delivers this. Oh, I'm hoping it's Tiger's Blood flavor.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah, the strawberry watermelon combo. Yeah.
To the president to be. I love that photo so much.
That is the most insane picture I have ever seen. Like that changed my brain chemistry. I need you to understand that seeing that photo.
In respect. Honestly, like if this had been the first thing I'd learned about Steve Holt and not about the changes to the Iowa Civil Rights Act, removing transgender housing rights from him, I don't know. I might be a different guy. I might feel very differently about kind of the powers that be.
Do you think he offers the rainbow flavor?
Hell no.
That's so. Do you think there's a pride deal at Tropical Snow? Is that what you're asking?
He just keeps it on the menu so that he can deny people. Like, oh, you want the rainbow? No, not it.
Gay dollars spend just fine.
Maybe that's how we get him to fix it. Gay people go to Steve Holt's snow cone stand.
Careful.
If he see.
Careful. Pulling you back from the edge. Careful. And do what? Avery? Do what? Careful, Avery.
Buy a snow cone.
I'm saying if we go and we buy a bunch of his snow cone stuff, whether it's good or not, maybe he'll be like, oh.
The gays are good again.
Gay people are cool.
Okay, cool. Great. Yep, that sounds good.
Rainbow wash the hell.
Can endorse. Thank you. All right. Who's sweating? I'm sweating. There you have it. So we'll be following this kind of ethanol deal as it moves to subsequent legislative sessions. Maybe they can get more buy-in next year. Avery, do you want to take a break?
Please.
God, kill me.